Alors bonsoir tout le monde.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this regular and public meeting of the Dieppe City Council. This being the summer season, these meetings are held from 6 o'clock p.m. We're on time. So, welcome to one and all. Our opening word, dear colleagues, let's have the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, the wisdom to know the difference. So, everyone is present, including two members of council that are outside from Zoom, the Councillor Godet and Councillor Boudier. Welcome to one and all. Any conflict of interest? Would someone have any conflict of interest to declare? If so, please say so at this time and talk it over with Mr. Sima and fill in the necessary formula. It would seem that no one has a conflict, so let's continue with the adoption of the agenda. A motion, please, moved by Mrs. Trajorwa, seconded by Councillor Boudreau. On the question, no question on the agenda. All those in favor say aye. Contrary minded, nay. So the agenda is approved as presented. Item 7, presentation, inquiries, and petitions. 7.1, inquiries by the council members to the Kodiak Regional RCMP. I don't know who is with us today. Mr. Zalet, maybe? Yes, good evening, Your Worship, members of council. Thank you. Thank you to be with us. Would there be any questions, any comments, maybe, to be asked, Mr. Zalet? Not him personally, mind you, but as representative of the NCMB. Another lucky one, no question. So, do you have any comments to make for us, Inspector? The only thing I want to say, obviously, with the reopening of the border with other provinces, everybody should be careful with the increase of traffic on the road. We'll be more vigilant. We'll be try to be more present. And the last 2 weeks, you yourself, mayor and councillors, I just the note that we can present ourselves in person, so you'll see me at the next meeting. Very well. Thank you for your comments. We are waiting for you. We know you're very busy. As always, you're welcome to stay with us. Uh, but I know that you have other things to do. Good evening, sir. Same to you. Question from the public. Did we receive, Mr. Sima, any questions from the public? None? No? Okay. For the adoption of the minutes of the meeting of June 28th, moved by Councillor Thibodeau, seconded by Councillor Lanteng. On the question. No question. On the minutes from the last meeting, all those in favor say aye. Contrary minded say nay. Motion is adopted as presented. That brings us to motion, memorandum, and nominations. 10.1, administration. Mr. Melanson. Thank you, Your Worship. Good evening, everyone. For the first file, people probably know we have a policy for financial incentive to have the density of downtown. The last revision was done in 2020 following some factors that evolved since that time. We are bringing some revision to be brought to that policy. The revision are as follows. First one is an adjustment In one of section of the limitation of zone A, we say that it should be re-examined same time as zone B. What this means is that it will be allowed to do some development, commercial at the first floor and commercial at higher or residential in the building as a whole in that zone, which is conform with the other zones identified on the map that you have in your package. Another revision that was brought is Zone B. As to the densification, it will be allowed to give an incentive up to 50% on the development on the square footage, which is solely residential. It's an incentive that was not existing before. It's something we're bringing, something new. Another element, it's a percentage of right of build of construction. It's something that is added to the value of the permit, and something else that was added in zone C. This time it's an incentive as to the densification up to 25% of the size of the density of the area. These are recommendations that we are bringing once again to aim the objective of seeing our development as soon as possible for our downtown to make it lively and also dynamic, and that the development be done as quickly as possible. These are the adjustment to our policy, the revise, and this is our recommendation for tonight. Thank you for the reading of the resolution, Monsieur Lantin. That council repeal policy EXPD hyphen 1 2020 entitled Financial Incentive to Real Estate Densification of Downtown Core and adopt the new policy EXPD 1 2021 entitled Financial Incentive for Real Estate Densification of the Downtown Core. I so move, Your Worship. Moved by Councillor Yateng, seconded by Councillor Thibodeau. On the question. On the question, Ms. Godbout.
Bonjour.
Hello.
Regarding l'analyse
I
des
recognize in Appendix D of the
formulaire,
policy,
le formulaire est
the
soumis
form
c'est une politique
is made to downtown Quebec.
c'est un incitatif offert
It's an incentive
pour le
offered
contrat étant
that we
banni
call
par
the
les citoyens
contract,
concédé par la ville de Dieppe.
which is
Le
given by the
formulaire
city of
est
Dieppe,
soumis
but
à
the application
l'expansion
form
Dieppe.
is given to expansion
Dans ce
Dieppe.
cas-là, c'est
I
c'est une
assume that in
demande
that case
systématique
is
de développement
downtown Dieppe is aware of this. I want to make sure that the sharing of information is clear. A good point. It's a correction that should be brought. It should be submitted to the city of Moncton. It's a program that belongs to the city of Dieppe. Well, thank you for raising that observation. We will correct it. We'll make the correction. Thank you. I hope that satisfied the member. The only thing I would add, if that's the case, make sure that the authorization that go with it, well, make sure it's sufficient sharing to expansion the so that they can have everything they need to make the recommendation. We received the application and we also have the authorization to share this information with expansion the app so that then they can make recommendation to us. Does that make sense? The application is submitted to the finance of the municipality and expansion DM is an ambassador if you wish. The analysis is made by the uh, Department of Finance and it's done directly with the promoter by the financial service for the city of Dieppe. So for sharing of information for expansion so that they can participate in the recommendation, we limit the information that they receive. Well, then they are partner, the promoter go to see them. They can be partner to make sure the information is complete with the promoter, not with us, with the promoter. If that's the case, then there is a cooperation between the two sectors. Thank you. Somebody else? Ms. Boudreau, your worship, we talk about development of downtown. I wonder, my question come under this resolution. Maybe it's not the proper time, but I thought I would ask it anyway. I thought of the persons who are marginalized or they're in a vulnerable situation. Do we have a way to create incentive? I don't know if it's in the strategic plan to come and help to create affordable housing in downtown because it's a very central area. It's easy. It has easy access. Yes, we we've had the discussion on a few occasions how to make sure that uh, uh, affordable housing is part and parcel of our downtown. There is a program that the developers can have access to meet the criteria and to have subvention to subsidize the difference to allow people who wants to rent downtown uh, with the residential and the real housing. And we're doing some research to see if there is a program we should consider within the municipality. We're making a research of the data. We can't wait to see the census from Canada. That should be coming out in the fall, if not in 2022. That's something we're looking at, but we have to make sure to have an equity between the different housing. Thank you. Other question? If not, all those in favor say aye. Contrary minded, nay. So the resolution is carried by the municipal council. That brings us to the next item, 10.2. 10.2, talking about financial incentive. You will see a perfect example tonight of what is the result of the exercise of help financial incentive wise. You have in front of you the company's 701047 701047 NB that has a project at 219 279 Champlain Street and was to have a subsidy of $511,000. The two key elements are for underground parking. That is for an amount of $340,000 and an amount of $160,211 surface wise. That totalized $500,000 would be spread over a 10-year period when the value of the property is evaluated by Service New Brunswick. We reimburse we have 5 7 years. This one will be going up to 10 years. Our recommendation is to authorize that agreement, and also they will validate once the project is complete, make sure that the value is equivalent of what the question is tonight. For the reading of the resolution, Mrs. Boudreau, that council authorized that a financial incentive estimated at $500,211 be paid to 701047 NB Inc. for densification of for the planned project 279 Champlain Street under the policy EXPD-1 2020 to the real estate densification downtown core, provided that said project received the necessary approval from various city departments and com- complies with the above mentioned policies requirement as well as municipal bylaws. I so move. Moved by Councillor Boudreau, seconded by Councillor Thibodeau. Other question? No question. All those in favor say aye. Contrary minded, nay. Carried as presented. Now, 10.2.2, Mr. Milazzo. You have in front of you the renewals of group insurance plan and accidental life insurance for the municipality. So, according to the modality, the chart presented by Service Financial Champlain Financial is recommended for the period of August the 1st to July the 31st, 2022 to go with Assumption Life at value 1,288,057 and $57 plus an accidental with RBC at the rate of 0.028 $1,000. That policy covers the following element: life, uh, uh, disability, long-term disability, dental, medical insurance, in common, all the services that are mentioned. We talk about an increase of 0.54% in reference to last year rate. So Mr. Drolet is available if you have any question for him. So it's a recommendation to approve that resolution. For the reading of that resolution, Monsieur Thibodeau. Thank you, Your Worship. That council authorized the renewal of the group insurance plan and the pool coverage with Assumption Life as per the term in the letter and table submitted by Service Financier Gauguin Champlain Financial Services Inc. in July 2021 for the period starting August the 1st, 2021 to July the 31st, 2022, the estimated cost of $1,388,057. That council further authorized the renewal of the accidental life insurance plan with RBC Insurance at a monthly rate of $0.028 per $1,000. I so move, Your Worship. Moved by Councillor Thibodeau, seconded by Councillor Brideau. On the question. On the question, Mrs. Jojoa. I have a question for Joel, if he's online. In the conclusion and the recommendation, you mentioned that there is a net improvement uh, w- with the other municipality on the biological drugs that are expensive, that are increasing, and you're recommending a more profound examination for another program. Is that something you will do in the next year? And to propose it to us in the for the next renewal. Monsieur Drolet, good evening. Yes, we are looking with the Department of Human Resources and Finance to see what would be the impact for the employees of the city. We'll do it during the fall of 2021 to see if there would be an important impact, if it could help with expensive drugs. It's a program that Assumption Life has implemented, and we've had quite an important impact with other municipalities. We'll look at it, and it'll be done during the fall with the finance and human resources. Thank you, Mr. Drolet, and we say that we probably could have an important savings. So thank you, Ms. Godbout. Question? Yes, for our invited guest tonight, if you could explain in the dental summary talk about put off till New Year's with some expenses to come back of COVID-19 on the behavior of the claims that we've had. There was a huge difference. Could you summarize that, explain that more for me? Yes, immediately. The insurers are dragging over Canada during the pandemic. They didn't see an immediate impact on the claims. So they noticed that the claims for long term, for health insurance, for dental insurance also uh, uh, happened at the beginning of the pandemic, but at the end of the pandemic, they noticed they're more concerned as to the incidents. Number one, the impact on mental health, not only on employees but general population in general. those who have short and long term care insurance, as we have in the city here, maybe they're more concerned to see if there will be a negative incidence on the mental health aspect of the people and the employees that are covered by that coverage. The other impact that we've noticed since January of 2021 is the claims for dental care have did not improve because the people during 2020, well, they were several months without going to the dentist. So the dentist office were closed for regular treatment. The emergency, there was always possible to be the dentist, but regular treatment, they were closed for that purpose. We noticed that with the employees, when the more normal life returned, well, the people hurried up to go to the dentist very quickly, and there is an increase of the cost at the dentist for personal coverage, everything that has to do with the disinfection of their costs related to that make it that the cost of the dental cost is increasing. We're following this very closely with our firm to see what the impact would be because COVID it's put us 6 months behind what is going to happen. The year 2021 will be interesting to watch between now and the end of the year to see what will be the impact. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else have a question? Your worship. After Mr. Divido. Wait. No. Miss Laboutier, the floor is yours. Thank you, worship. I have two questions. The first one, well, two questions for information purpose. First one was for the manager. What is the percentage there? Percentage of sharing between the employees and the city for the collective within the collective agreement? I'll ask Mrs. Savoy to answer that question. If you have an answer, I have. Uh, Monsieur Drolet, Miss Savoy is here. Good evening. It's 100% paid by the employer, and you, Monsieur Drolet, you mentioned in your letter of June the 22nd that you're working with more than 60 municipalities. Is there any municipalities? Is it standard that the municipalities pay 100%? And municipalities with whom we're working, there's approximately, I'll say approximately, I'll have to come back, 20 to 24% of the municipalities that pay 100% of the premium for the municipalities. The others, there is some sharing of the premium going from 20% paid by the employees up to 40% paid by the employees. Thank you very much. Thank you. Anything else? I don't see any other question for the resolution. All those in favor say aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Carried as presented. Thank you. That brings us to 10.3, determination of surplus item. As you've said, these are surplus item is a policy that states that when we want to get rid of something, we have to ask the council here. The fire department has identified four elements of equipment: eye protection, boot, bags, equipment of some kind. So we're following the standard and FAA, National Fires Protection Association, with the standard that is planned for 10 years. We have equipment that is to be given away. So we also went through light and medical mission. That is an entity that make donation to other unfortunate agencies. Cabaret in Dominican Republic could use our equipment that are not up to our standards. So we're asking you permission to get rid of these surplus items. For the reading of this resolution, Mr. Jean. Thank you, Your Worship. That council determined the following fighting assets and surplus item, protective suits, boots, helmets, and equipment bags. That's a move, Your Worship. Moved by Mrs. Sturgeon, seconded by Councillor Nothing on the question. No question. All those in favor say aye. Contrary minded say nay. The resolution is carried. Now, 10.5, 10.4 first, maybe? Sorry, 10.4. Adoption policies set for. You have in front of you a policy that includes an undertaking for the request that the municipality is asking to get rid of property that that belongs to the city. Properties that's not on the market. That is not on the market. It's parcel of land on the republic on is greater than what we need. Could be a piece of land spread over two properties. It could be a piece of land that has no use for the municipality. We receive regularly a request, and we have a framework for this, and want to make sure that every interested party that have a request can partake, and the persons who come to see us know what steps they have to meet and what steps they have to take to be listen and have an interest. So you have the copy of the policy. Uh, on attachment, we ask you to adopt that policy and would be implemented afterwards. That's our recommendation on that file for the reading of the resolution. Mrs. Jean-Roy, go ahead. Thank you. The council adopt policy Z4 entitled Sale of Municipality Online. So move by Councillor Turgeon, seconded by Councillor Brideau. Question, Monsieur Brideau? When we talk about getting rid of property, the land where we destroyed some properties, uh, these properties are not owned by the city. They are returned to the city. That's not what we're talking about. Okay, fine. Thank you. I know property that was destroyed at the bottom of Gaspé Street, for instance. Yes, we don't have any lien on the property. Okay. Other question? If not, I'll do the. I have a question, Your Worship. Th- Sorry, go ahead. Yes. Well, once again, it's a question clarification. In the step of sale number three, we say except in cases where the city wish to sell the property, the city is interested in selling the property. Then the clauses come into effect. And at step five, we go to step five and we make the analysis. I don't understand. Well, I want to have clarification. Why is it? Why is in five at number one? Why do we make the analysis once everything is done when we know that we are already interested at step three to sell? Participate at the work on this policy. And at step three, one, the first step is to meet on the preliminary the applicant to explain to him everything that is coming as to the approach for the sale of that property. One thing we want to solve are the cases where a person sees a piece of land that is owned by the city. It's not for sale, but he could have an interest. That property is close to his property, wants to expand his property, maybe build something on it if the size is suits him. He has the city. We wanted to know what was the value of that portion, which was of interest to him. So we had the evaluation done, and the city was paying for these costs. And on a regular basis, the person finally would decide that it was too expensive, and he would just let go of that project. So the first step will explain to the people the process as a whole, and then we will explain that f- there will be a deposit, and the deposit will be used to pay the expenses for the evaluation. That's why we meet him first rather than have the analysis made, because the land, the property is already within the property of the city and is not for sale. We don't analyze lands that are not for sale. So it's really a question of efficiency. Thank you very much. It answers my question. Thank you. Any other questions? No. All those in favor say aye. Contrary minded, nay. Carried as presented. 10.5. Here you have in front of you a recommendation from the PAC for uh, the tentative plan Ville Dieppe subdivision. It is recommended to go Gaspé and Adria, and servitude for local services is the recommendation of the PAC with no other. Is for your approval tonight. For the reading of this resolution, Ms. Goodboe, your worship, that council accept the Planning Advisory Committee's recommendation relating to the acceptance of the Villa Dieppe subdivision Unit 21 amending tentative plan, which provides for the extension of Gaspé Street and Adrian Court, as well as the location of a local government service easement. I so move, your worship. Thank you. Moved by Mrs. Godbout, seconded by Mr. Thibodeau on the question. No question. All those in favor say aye. Contrary minded say nay. Carried as presented. 10.5.2. Once again, it's a PAC recommendation for a tentative plan on Pine View Estate Subdivision Unit 1. Here is the extension of Fournier Street and the easement for the local government service and also public utility, with one condition, that the public utility property would not be credited for future use. Is the recommendation for your consideration. For the reading of this resolution, Mrs. Boudreau. Your worship, that council accept the Planning Advisory Committee's recommendation relating to the acceptance of the Pine View Estates Subdivision Unit 1 tentative plan, which provides for the extension of the Fournier Street, the location of a local government services easement, as well as the location of land for public purposes, provided that the surplus of the land for public purposes is not credited for future development. I so move, your worship. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Boudreau, seconded by Councillor Brideau. On the question. No question. All those in favor say aye. Contrary minded, nay. Carried as presented. Number 11, bylaw, municipal bylaw. Once again, you have some bylaws that are summarized in the summary reading, first part, and then the third reading by title only. So for bylaw number A-16 concerning the summary reading for this bylaw, who wants to read it? Everybody will jump at it. I can see it. Councillor Lantagne, the first page in French, just the summary. I should be able to do this. Summary for A16, bylaw municipality of Dieppe respecting the repeal of certain bylaws pursuant to the authority vested in the local Act NB 2018, Chapter 18, the Council of Municipality of Dieppe duly assembled as follows all bylaws and all amendment thereof. Schedule number 38 to facilitate the conversion of the system. Replace number 43, a bylaw instituting and regulating municipal person parking permit. Number 78 12, a bylaw of the municipality of Dieppe respecting the moving of the building of say 7818, a bylaw of the municipality of Dieppe suspecting box in resting 78 for a bylaw of the municipality of Dieppe respecting horse car and auto racing. Bylaw 78 15, the bylaw of the municipality of Dieppe respecting exhibition, theaters, circuses, and other shows. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Lantagne, seconded by Councillor Brideau on the question. Ms. Godbout, I just want to ask a follow-up question. Stefan, the bylaw concerning box and wrestling, maybe it would be a greater bylaw than the municipal, the provincial, the bylaw on box and wrestling. We are deleting it. It's a bylaw that was complete on one page, and the main article was that we had to ask the police chief a license. There's no interest to keep that. Thank you for the explanation. Other question? If not, all those in favor say aye. It reminded nay. So we read in summary reading, and now by title only. It'll be easier, Monsieur Lanting. Just the title. No, no, just the title. Bylaw, bylaw A-16, a bylaw of the municipality of Dieppe respecting the repeal of certain bylaws. Stop there. To move, I so move. Moved by Councillor Lanting, seconded by Councillor Brideau on the question. No question, all those in favor say aye. Contrary minded nay. Carried, and the bylaw will be repealed soon. Now, that's all. So we will proceed with notice of motion. None. So we'll continue with the inquiries and announcement by city councilors, reminding you that you each have 4 minutes. The last time, I believe I started on my right. So tonight we will start at my left. That means that Councillor Paul Godet, you are allowed your 4 minutes of glory. Good evening. Can you hear me? Yes? We hear you.
I noticed there's a greater presence of the RCMP in my ward for the last few weeks, and I think it's great. We had talk about speed, and I wanted to mention that. Thank you. Thank you. I have to add to what you said. I, I will warn everybody if you don't slow down. I'm telling you, the patrol will increase. There's a special project that is being executed. So a one person is worth two. Thank you, Mr. Boutier.
Merci, Monsieur le maire. Moi,
Thank you,
j'ai
Worship. I
que
have nothing
je
for
suis satisfait.
tonight.
Merci.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Boudreau.
Merci, Monsieur le maire.
Thank you, Worship.
J'ai rien à rapporter non
I
plus.
have
Je
nothing
vous souhaite une
to
belle été.
report. I wish you a nice summer. Thank you, Monsieur Brideau.
Merci, Monsieur le maire.
Thank
Je
you,
viens
Worship.
d'entendre
I'm
la
proud
parole de ta bouche
to hear the
que le
words from
massacre
your
a été
mouth that
donné à
the
Dieppe.
warning is given.
J'ai hâte de voir les résultats
I
vont être
can't
tels parce
wait
que
to see the
je n'ai
results
pas
in my
vu
ward
beaucoup de
because
présence
I
encore.
didn't
Mais
see
ça
too
se
much
peut
presence. But if it's coming,
et mérite
good. I would be glad for
vraiment
my citizens. That's all tonight.
très bel été
I wish you a very good summer
Dieppe.
to the
Bienvenue aux
residents in
touristes
Dieppe everywhere.
et
Welcome to the tourists,
voilà.
people from outside and there. Thank you, Monsieur Thibodeau.
Merci, Monsieur le maire.
Thank you,
Et
Worship.
moi aussi, j'ai remarqué qu'il y avait plus de
Similarly, I
policiers
noticed there were
sur la
more
route.
police officers on the road. I noticed on
J'ai
charters on
vu
the road
quelques prises.
on a
Alors,
few
je pense
occasions.
que ça
I
semble
noticed that. I
vraiment
think
baisser leur vitesse.
it's
C'est
good
un
if
compliment.
the people can slow their
Voilà.
speed. Everybody's
Alors,
complaining about that.
quoi que j'ai rien d'autre,
I
je
have
souhaite une bonne
nothing
été à
else.
tout le monde.
Have a good summer, everybody.
Merci.
Thank you. The question of the RCMP. It's a little bit like salmon fisheries catch and release, and we wish them the best of luck. Mrs.
Merci
Jojo,
beaucoup.
thank
Moi,
you.
c'est plus
Well,
une
it's
observation
more
que
an
une comment
observation,
j'ai eu
a
des
comment that I
rencontres
received
au niveau
recently.
des sentiers dans la
As
région
for the
de
trails
justement
in the region of
Ville.
Pointe Orenal
Est-ce
and
qu'il y a des
Dover,
plans pour avoir
is there any
des toilettes
plans to
portatives
have a portable
parce
toilet
que
in
c'est
that
un
area?
beau
Because I know
sentier marin.
that we have it
Donc,
along the
là,
trail
si
in the
il
marsh,
peut
but I've been asked by some citizens,
parce
and
que là, tous les jours,
I
c'est
walk on that trail every day,
vraiment
7.2
ça va
kilometers,
rouler.
by the way.
J'ai
And today
l'impression que c'est plus
I
rapide
receive an
que c'est pas moi.
observation that it's not me,
Mais
it's
ça
somebody
m'a fait
else that
penser de poser
needed
la
to go
question
to
si
the
c'était des
toilet.
plans
But it came to mind to
spécifiques
ask a question if there is a plan for something to be done on that
Monsieur
trail.
Nadeau
Monsieur
est
Nadeau,
là. Je ne sais pas s'il y a une observation, sinon
I don't know if he has an observation. If not, we'll take note. And Monsieur Nadeau,
Merci, Monsieur Mélenchon.
thank you,
Madame
Monsieur
Councillor.
Milazzo, Madam
Non,
Councillor.
on n'a pas de plan
We don't have any
de toilette
plans
portative
per se
parce que
to have
depuis le
portable
début de
toilets
l'intervention,
because there's not really any
l'opération Ville,
connection
il serait quand même
between
intéressant
that
d'avoir la possibilité de
area
pouvoir
and over. We need
faire
have the possibility
le camion sceptique, disons,
the septic
pour remplacer, si ça
truck
allait bien là,
to empty those
ce serait quelque chose
toilets.
qu'on pourrait faire quand même
It's a
plus
request we could make
le Mountain Switch
to the
aussi.
Greater
Il y a
Mountain
peut-être
Storage Commission,
dans les sentiers qui
and they
sont
could probably
généralement
provide some toilets. But up to now, there's no plan on a short or midterm. Thank you. Would be important maybe to look into it.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. It's noted. That's all, Mrs. Godbout.
Merci. Dans
Thank
les
you.
prochaines semaines,
In the
on
next
va
few
peut-être
weeks,
connaître un petit peu plus et voir au développement
we will know
du
more
projet avec
with the master
les gens
plan
de
for the
Dieppe. Je suis
recreation
contente de voir
city of Dieppe. Very happy to be able
c'est
to
sûr que
contribute to it.
je vais dire
So if the
aux
master
gens
plan must
qui
recognize the
s'amusent de pouvoir
tendency
vivre en santé.
that allow their citizens to live in good health through nature, the increase of trees, and the greater opportunities to interact with nature must take a greater place. And I've put on my Facebook page an example of a chart in Paris where we see more trees. I encourage people to go and see it and contribute to the invitation that exists to talk to the councillors as to the recreation plan and encourage that tendency towards a greater number of trees. We've heard it toward during the elections. We want to bring it forward. I have a second meeting of the Multicultural Greater Moncton Multicultural Association will be held next few weeks. I'll present a report next few weeks. I want to thank the director of different sectors of the city for excellent meeting, the update on the work of their section. After reflection, I realized there is one source one important information source that I did not receive in the next few weeks, and to know more about the profile of our vulnerable citizens, isolation, mental health, poverty, as well as the organization that support them. We are very hard. We are very good at development. That is good, but let's make sure that everybody comes with us. So once we have the profile and knowledge, that information is lacking, and it's necessary to be able for me to contribute fully on master plan or the impact of the policies that I propose. If you had the opportunity in the next few weeks, when you give me information, I would be interested in it. And tonight, the council accepted authorizing the renewal of the collective insurance and the coverage of common needs from Assumption Life. Our residents with confidence while we ask them to work for everybody that must be confident the city is there to sustain them if they're in need. Each employee for the city called to do the same. The availability of group insurance are essential for each person and each family. When we say we have a family a plan, the family needs this coverage and this insurance to be well. Also, we estimate that 3.5 millions of Canadians don't have the means to buy the drugs they need. So every person that holds an insurance card should have a care coverage for drugs. And I'm happy to note that the employees of our city and their families are among those that have an additional protection. I'm glad to see that tonight. Thank you, Monsieur Lantin. Your worship, I don't have much to report, but being the last to talk, it brings about some ideas. First of all, without repeating what everybody has said, I'm very proud to see the concrete actions from the RCMP monitoring is happening during the campaign, going door to door. That was one of the things, not only for myself, but everybody else. People said that people were complaining for a long time. It was not improving. I'm glad to see that something concrete is happening. One thing that I want to add, I talked about it earlier, trail, we were talking about toilets, but what we would see easily, I don't know if it's possible to be able to ask a drinking fountain. Some days it's very warm, so a bottle of water empties quickly. I went to review, and there is one there, a drinking fountain, and it's very good. So I don't know if we could have a hose with an extension and put it there. On that, thank you very much. Good summer, everybody, to our citizens and to our councillors. And that's all for me tonight. Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't have much to add. Simply, as all my colleagues, I want to wish you all a good summer period. Take advantage of our beautiful weather and more opening also towards opening being the improvement of the health situation. Try to take advantage of it as long as possible, hoping that we can get rid of this COVID. On that, good evening, everybody.